Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and here we are. We are at my review of Doctor Who, The Romans. Easily my least favourite William Hartnell story, or at least one of them at least. I mean, okay, there are a couple of contenders. The Reign of Terror was a contender, and then there's a couple in Season 3, and The Smugglers in Season 4, but this one kind of certainly for Season 2, it kind of takes the cake. Just to let you know, I've now changed the camera position, so sorry about that. But anyway, The Romans absolutely sucks. Okay, it's not completely god-awful. There are some good bits about it, but start of The Romans, the TARDIS lands on a cliff, just like at the end of The Rescue, and it falls off the cliff. And we see it on its side, and then we cut to a month later, and they're all just relaxing at some Roman's villa. What a brilliant way to resolve a cliffhanger. They didn't need that. They could have just had the TARDIS land, and the Doctor say, "Oh, we're in ancient Rome." Well, not ancient Rome, but they're in Italy. Or what would become Italy. They're in Roman territory. And then, at the start of this episode, they just go out and they have a bit of an exploration. And then the Doctor decides to go to Rome and take Vicky with him. Maybe they just land in Rome and they just have a bit of a wander around. But Barbara and Ian get kidnapped and sold as slaves, as we see here. And then they have to escape and meet the Doctor and Vicky at the meeting point. Instead, what happens is the Doctor and Vicky do decide to go to Rome, but Ian and Barbara stay behind. But some slave traders kidnap them because they're Britons. Or at least that's what a lady hears, that they come from Londinium. So they believe them to be Britons, which is Roman talk for British. So they kidnap them and sell them as slaves. Ian goes to row a boat, and Barbara gets slaved to be a servant at Nero's court. Meanwhile, the Doctor takes the guise of one of the instrument players. Does it say if he takes Maximilius Petilian? He disguises himself as Maximus, who has been killed, to foil an attempt on Nero's life. So they then go and meet Nero. Without any knowledge of the plot, and eventually get caught up with this really nice character. He's a bald character in Nero's court. He's very nice. He helps Barbara out a lot, and he has some great interactions with everybody. He's really good. I really like this character. Ian and a fellow slave eventually escape from the ship. It might even have been wrecked, and they make their way back to Rome, but they are recaptured and sent to the arena to fight each other. Meanwhile, Nero is trying to get it on with Barbara. It's actually slightly fun to begin with. It's actually quite funny to begin with. But once he starts chasing her around the palace, it gets a bit annoying after a while. Especially as it kind of becomes Scooby-Doo, in a way. It kind of becomes a Scooby-Doo chase, except not as interesting. And his wife tries to get Barbara poisoned so that she doesn't get threatened by the fact that Barbara may become the new empress. And Vicky and the Doctor manage to avert this. Well, Vicky swaps the vials to go to Nero, and then the Doctor prevents Nero from drinking the potion. There's actually a very good bit where Nero gives it to a servant to drink, and then the servant dies afterwards, and Nero looks at the camera with a kind of comedic shock impression going, and he says, "He was right." So that's a good moment. But these good moments are far between some not so good moments. The story, I just don't really like the story. I enjoyed the Doctor and Vicky's moments with Nero. It's more the Barbara and Ian stuff, and even the Doctor and Vicky stuff. Sometimes it can go on a bit. It's not completely perfect, so it's not 100% enjoyable. It's just better than the Ian and Barbara stuff, and I think there's more attention on that. Eventually, Ian and Barbara reunited and escape with the other ex-slave, thanks to bald guy, when after the Doctor and Vicky accidentally gives Nero the idea to cause a fire to burn down Rome, and he has people go out to burn the city. So they manage to escape during that commotion, and the Doctor and Vicky also escape during that commotion, and they all go back to the villa with the Doctor and Vicky not listening to Ian and Barbara, so they don't know about their experience. Oh, isn't that just typical of the First Doctor? He doesn't listen to them. He just thinks they had a lazy couple of days at the villa. Typical First Doctor. And this is at a time when they would usually talk a little bit longer to pad out the runtime. But I think with this one, they were actually getting very close. Towards the end, certainly in episode 1, they almost completed their 25 minutes, in a way. But yeah, the Romans. It looks okay. Set design, it looks good and done some good stuff. The characters aren't all great. The main characters are, of course, great, and it's the secondary characters. Nero is fun to watch. For the most part, he's funny and entertaining. We've got the other slave guy. He's good. He's nice. He actually attempts to attack Nero to prevent killing Ian, and so they escape again. And like I said, bald guy with the robes who helps out the Doctor, Vicky, and later as well as Barbara and Ian. He's great. He's probably my favourite character. It appears that he is a secret Christian, and as we know, Nero hated Christians. More information, see Horrible Histories. But besides them, everyone is either a dick or not that necessary. There's the potions woman who talks to Vicky about potions, and that's interesting and becomes important for Papyr's plan. But Papyr's just dare to be jealous of Barbara. The slave traders, of course, they're not supposed to be nice, but he's just not very nice to watch. There was this one slave who was alright, but she didn't get much to do in the context. She's probably going to be killed. And yeah, it's a Bernadette and the woman at the stall. What a dick. Dick S. I suppose if she's a woman, she's dickless. What a dickless. But yeah, and that guy on the boat. Really don't like that guy either. Quite a few of these side characters let the story down alongside this annoying plot. And like I said, Nero, sometimes he goes back and forth between funny and enjoyable and just downright annoying. And like I said, the corridor chase, it got old very quickly. Nero just tried to get on with Barbara. It got old quickly. I don't mind the occasion it's happening every now and again throughout the story, but not long after his first attempt, he then tries to get her. They try to do it again, and it goes on for a longer period of time. So, and some of the filming and editing is most of it's all right. It's doing pretty good, but I don't think it's amazing. Obviously, I've been ranting a little bit. It's just, and the worst thing about the story, certainly on the rewatch, because on the first watch, I absolutely despised it. I hated it. It was my least favourite story for a while. On the rewatch, I liked it a bit more. I thought it was alright. It's still got some stupid stuff, but third time round, I think it's kind of gone in between, but slightly more in the favour of the second one. But I do have lots of strong criticisms like I had at the first time. So after this recent rewatch, I actually squirmed in my seat. I was not enjoying it. It was tedious. It was a tedious, boring, and well, most of the part, it wasn't. It's supposed to be Dennis. It's a Dennis Gruner script. It's supposed to be funny, but at some point, it just felt not funny. It just wasn't as funny, and so it just didn't work for me. I don't know what it is. Dennis Spooner I know he can write good stories. The Time Meddler is his best historical, and he writes the better half of Dalek Master Plan, and he does some great Thunderbirds episodes. But Reign of Terror and The Romans suck. I don't know what it is. At least with the Reign of Terror, it wasn't boring. I'll give it that. It wasn't good, but it wasn't boring. I enjoyed it. Parts of it. I enjoyed parts of it. I like the Scarlet Pimpernel-esque story with that Scarlet Pimpernel-esque character, and how they were seeing how the next stage of France history was starting to take place. But it was just some other bits that weren't so interesting. Here, it's just non-interesting full stop. There isn't that, apart from seeing Nero get his idea for the city, and the Doctor kind of making him look like a fool for a bit, he then tries to get him to be executed by the Lions, but eventually he gets... the Doctor burns his plans, which gives him the idea to burn the city, and then eventually he forgives the Doctor for both that and making him look like a fool. But yeah, besides some occasional good bits, but besides that, there isn't really that much to work with here. It's not so good. I do like the Ian and Barbara interactions at the start and the end. And Vicky getting to interact with them, and then later with the Doctor throughout the story. But overall, this story just doesn't work for me. I don't know what it is. I just didn't enjoy it. So maybe it was the fact that Ian and Barbara became slaves, but it was more annoying to start with. It got a bit better once Barbara went to the palace, but it just still didn't quite work. So, the Romans, we had the Reign of Terror, that was a misstep, but a lot of people liked that, so fair enough on them, and there was quite a couple of good moments with that, but I just couldn't get into that. This time round, I don't think there is that much redemption for this. At least with the Reign of Terror, you had that more interesting second half. In this case, there was just a few interesting and enjoyable moments, but that was it, and it just didn't quite work. So therefore, I'm going to give the Romans a 4 out of 10. Yep, this is my weakest Doctor Who score to date. Overall, though, there will be more under 5 out of 10s in the future. I can guarantee there will be more under 5s. And there will, next season, season 3, I think there will be some. There's definitely going to be a couple more as we go along, and this includes the new series, by the way, Classic Who. And so don't worry, it's not going to be exclusively classic that there's under 5s out of 10s. There are some in the new series as well. So it's equal. Both sides of both classic and new series get quite a lot of episodes above the 5 out of 10. A couple that are 5 out of 10, and quite a few, not quite a few, but a couple that are between under 5, and I don't think any a 0 in my opinion, but there are some that do come very close. This one, when I first watched it, did come very close. It was originally a 1. It was very close to being a 0. Now it's more of a 4. It's a 4, as I mentioned. Second rewatch, I think it would have gone at 6, maybe a 7. But I don't know. I think 4 is the definitive Roman spot because I think it works there. It's okay, but it's not one I'm going to rush back to. And my God, would I be able to stomach a 4th watching anytime soon? Maybe in a couple of years' time. Or at least give it a couple of months at least. Thank God it was this early in the season. We can move away from that. I think my next least favourite was The Monster of Peladon, and then that went up a bit after I did my Ice Warrior story watching after Empress of Mars came out. I want to say last year, but that's not true anymore. 2 years ago. So, what is my least favourite story now? Well, it's another classic serial from the Patrick Troughton age, but we're going to get to that when we get to that. It'll be towards the end of season 6. Hellbent in series 9 is also a very close contender, as an individual episode at least. So we'll get to that at another point, unless I decide to do Series 9 on my main channel, in which case maybe I'll do that sooner. As that was kind of a 2015 thing, and my channel was around in 2015, and during the time of Series 9, so maybe Series 9 reviews can go on there, so maybe Last Christmas will be the last one on Retro, rather than Husbands of Real Song. Maybe. We'll see. So, yeah. But that's it from my review of The Romans. I will be doing a review of Doctor Who Resolutions on the main channel. I'm going to be recording that next. As for the next Doctor Who review after that, which will be back on this channel and will be following this review on this channel, will be the next Doctor Who story in Season 2, The Web Planet, which I can safely say after just one viewing, I'm going to have to rewatch it before I review it too, of course, but after one previous viewing, I really like this one, so I'm actually looking forward to rewatching this one, and expect a positive review, certainly more than this one, and maybe even more so than The Rescue. I think that one went up a little bit, just because I found it a bit more enjoyable on the second time round, even though it wasn't that much of a story, but I found it more enjoyable on the rewatch, so, but I think Web Planet will go above The Rescue, no problem. Certainly more than The Romans. Not as much as Planet of the Giants or Dalek Invasion of Earth, though. Anyway, so that's me. That's it from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Oh yes, and my sister is singing in the shower, so you'll probably hear that throughout this review. Anyway, so The Romans is about... But... Stop fucking burping! However, so, yeah, The Romans. I did consider a 6 out of 10, but I think it actually deserves the 5. And I think it is worse than The Reign of Terror, so it's not as bad enough to go to a 4. There are some good moments. No, actually, I've changed my mind. I am going to give it a 4. So I'm going to have that last little bit as a bleeper. So, The Romans. It had some good moments, but it wasn't completely perfect. I'm not going to cut. I'm going to cut that too. I'll just switching this out. Oh, it still looks wonky. I have to start this again.